Okay, thank you. So hello guys, sorry about the previous session. We couldn't have gotten further with it, but in this today's session, we're going to move over and cover a little bit about what we missed in the previous session about introduction to ethical hacking. So for those who don't know me, my name is Tahaa Farooq. I am a security researcher and I'm a penetration testing team lead at Hackett Consultancy. Okay, so to begin with this, just a minute. Okay. Let me check my network. Okay, so okay, so basically today what I'm going to be talking about is all about ethical hacking. So what is ethical hacking? Ethical hacking is, as any type of hacking can be, but done legally with consent to the target that is being assessed. So when you are performing a penetration testing exercise on a certain application or organization or whatever, and you have signed a consent with an NDA or whatsoever to agree that you're consenting to their data privacy and you're doing everything legally with their consent as well, that is what we call ethical hacking. So you find you look for bugs, vulnerabilities, and you report them to the company respectful to it. So yeah, that's basically what ethical hacking is. So with ethical hacking, you can you can get a free ticket to stay away from jail. Yeah, because most of the upcoming hackers who just come up with speed, I can say, like they come with a lot of hits. Uh, they become misled with their skills and somehow use them unlikely in a non-legal way, leading them to in the wrong side. So basically, I'm going to also, I don't have a PPTX file over here, presentation file, so I'm just going to brief things up and improvise, but the presentation file will be sent to you sooner, later. So I'm going to explain to you guys about the different types of hackers that are available in the hacking community. So we have a white hat hacker. Let me also open up notes. Okay. So we have a white hat hacker. So who is a white hat hacker? So a white hat hacker is actually an ethical hacker. So this guy is an ethical hacker. Who is an ethical hacker? An ethical hacker is a legal hacker. So he does everything regarding to consent and respectful to consent of the targeted client. So this guy does everything to the client respectfully with consent. Nothing illegal. And then we have the black hat hacker. So who is this guy? This guy is a malicious hacker. Now, who is a malicious hacker? A malicious hacker is a hacker who who hacks for a gain of a certain goal, maybe attention, maybe financial gain, maybe political attention or whatever. But yeah, they have a certain aim. So in the black hat hacker group, then from there we can have such hackers known as hacktivists and so on. So a malicious hacker is always doing illegal stuffs. So black hat is legal and black hat is illegal and white hat is legal. So as I explained, yeah. So then we have a gray hat hacker. Now, who is a gray hat hacker? So a gray hat hacker is also, okay, so when you mix black and white, you get gray color. So I think you can get a glimpse of what I'm trying to say here. So a gray hat hacker is a hacker who who is actually both a black hat and a white hat. So you can say maybe by the day, he can be white hat. And by the night, this guy is a vigilante black hat. Yeah. So that's probably what the gray hat does. So he's actually all legs in, like he's both a white hat hacker, but as well as a black hat hacker. So he's in for it, but he's very careful with what he's doing. Though still, at some sense of it, this is also illegal because by the end of the day, it will lead you in a bad place. So that's a few about the types of hackers, but we also have these hackers known as scripty kiddies. So who are scripty kiddies? Scripty kiddies are the beginners. So they're actually like newbies, not really newbies, but we can say they're actually new to the game. All they do is they use exploits from different sources, and they run them. They execute the exploits without even knowing what the exploit actually does, without even understanding the logic of the exploit, and in such a manner. So script kiddies are actually not really experienced, and yeah, they don't have standards. So yeah, any exploit that they come across and they think it's cool, and they can just run it up, and without even looking at the logic, they just execute it up, and that's the bad thing about it. So it's not really it's not really that's nice to become a script kiddie. It means you're a noob. Okay. So then we have blue hat hackers. So blue hat hackers are actually not much of a difference from script kiddies because they are beginners. They're beginners who actually know a very little about programming, and they also run and execute code without even understanding the logic. So they have not much of a huge difference to script kiddies. Okay, so this is all about the type of hackers that we have described, types of hackers. Then moving forward, in hacking, ethical hacking, to be precise, we have a lot of things to follow through. The first thing in ethical hacking is that we have the concepts of ethical hacking. Now, what are the concepts of ethical hacking? We have 4 concepts of ethical hacking. So let me just write this up. Concepts of ethical hacking. Yeah. So number 1 is legality. So we just like legality. Number 2 is scope. Number 3 is reports. And number 4 is data privacy. Now, how legality? So ethical hacking itself, as I explained earlier, is all about hacking legally, which means you have the permission and legal approval to do it. So that explains the first concept of ethical hacking. And the second concept of ethical hacking is that you need to understand every single scope that is provided on the task. So saying you are performing a penetration testing for a certain client and you're an ethical hacker. So remember, you have already achieved the first concept, which is legality. Now you're moving to the second concept, which is the scope. he will list down all the scopes of the assets that you need to assess while testing for vulnerabilities for his organization or whatsoever. So that's what's called a scope. So you need to understand the scope before starting the task. Okay, that is part of the requirement. And the third thing, which is the report, is that once you understand the scope and you start performing the penetration testing activity or exercise, the last thing you're going to do after you gathered up everything and you have all your results and all that, your outputs, your scans and whatsoever, you create a report, you draft a report. That report is going to be provided to the client. The report should contain all the processes and all the vulnerabilities, the security issues, all the concerned issues that have been found from the system or whatsoever should all be contained in the report and provided to the client. Then lastly, we have data privacy. Now, this is the most important thing in the concept of ethical hacking, data privacy. Before starting working with the client, the first thing you need to know is that you're going to have access to his data, which is the most crucial thing for someone to give you. That's very, very that's a huge risk actually. So for this, you need to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, that you consent that you are going to not disclose any of the information that you are going to find, discover, or see during the time of the exercise and after the time of the exercise. So it's some sort of a contract that you're going to be signing when you begin, before you begin the work. All right. So with that being said, the next thing we're going to be discussing is the types of hacking. So in ethical hacking, it's all about hacking legally, right? But how are you hacking legally? So we have types of hacking, okay? So in types of hacking, we have different types of hacking, a lot of them actually. So to mention a few, let me let you know, types of hacking. To mention a few, starting with the first one is computer or system hacking. Yeah, so as the name explains itself, so computer or system hacking. So you can be hacking a system or computer or a certain server whatsoever. That's the first type of hacking. Then we have network hacking. This can also be Wi-Fi hacking. So playing with the network with Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and anywhere playing network whatsoever. And then we have email hacking. This can contain phishing whatsoever. Then we have web application hacking. So hacking web application systems and whatsoever. Then we have password hacking. So you provide a hash, you need to brute force it or whatsoever. You need to gain access or crack a database, which has encrypted passwords. So this is password hacking. Yeah, with that being explained up, we're going to move forward to the stages of hacking. So when hacking, there are actually 5 main stages. So in these 5 main stages, the first stage, let me write here, stages of hacking. The first stage of hacking is recon. Recon or reconnaissance. Recon is all about information gathering, regardless it's active or passive. So it can be information that can be got by using by making verbose noise, or you can get information from the open source, which is OSINT, regardless. But as long as you get information, that's the first stage of hacking. So you need to get the information so that you can know how you move forward with your target. So the second thing that you're going to do in the stages of hacking is scan. But before we move forward, in Recon, we have a lot of tools that can be used in this stage. In Kali, for example, we have let me see, we have this option, information gathering. When we click on information gathering, we have DNS analysis, IDS or IPS identification, level verification, network output scanners, OSINT analysis. We have a lot of tools that we can use to perform the information gathering. Okay, so in this case, in our case of ethical hacking, when performing pen tests, information gathering is mostly gathered using the network and port scanners tools, but as well as OSINT analysis and DNS analysis. So we can use DNS enum or DNS recon, or we can use Nmap, or we can use dig. So that depends with you. Yeah. So moving forward to the second stage. The second stage is scanning. Yeah. So in scanning, you have already gathered the first informations about, I mean, you have first, you've gathered information about in the first phase of hacking. You got maybe the client's name, or maybe some employees who are in the company, or maybe some passwords, or maybe some IPs that are in the network. So the second thing you're going to do is you scan the whole network or the whole security framework and look for any way that you can get an entry point. So this is the pre-attack stage, where you use the information you gathered from reconnaissance to gather more information. So you can perform like sniffing, port scanning, you can use dialers and whatsoever, like survey the network. Yeah. So you extract all the information that you can get behind it, and then you move to the second stage, which is gaining access. Now, before we move to gaining access, I explain it, we can continue with scanning. So with scanning, you have different tools you can use here. So the tools that are found in information gathering can also be used in scanning. But also, there are vulnerability analysis tools. So like we have Nixo. This is also a nice tool for web application. But in web application analysis, we also have WP Scan. We also have WebSuite. Yeah, we also have the category of web vulnerability scanners, as you can see here. So all of these are all scanners. They can help you perform your work. And if you're dealing with a web application system, actually, this will be the best move. So yeah, and now moving forward to gaining access. So you have already gathered a lot of information. You scanned the network or the system or whatsoever. You got some more information. Now you're moving forward to the stage where you gain access. Now with that information you gathered, you're going to look for any relevant information that you gathered, which can help you move to the next step of gaining access into the network or to the system. So once you gain access to the system, this can be through a lot of ways. Maybe it can be through phishing, and that's email hacking, where you can phish the employee or whoever you want to phish so that you can get access to the computer or email and whatsoever. And the next thing you're going to do is, I mean, another thing you can do is maybe use web application vulnerabilities. If you found one, you can use the web application vulnerabilities to exploit them and get access to them. And another thing you can do is you can use you can exploit the port version. So you can maybe find like in port 21 is running FTP version, which is actually vulnerable to LRCE. You can just go ahead and bump through it and exploit it, and you can get access. So yeah, that's the third stage. The tools that can be used here are lots. And looking from here, let's see. Some of this can also be used, SQL map as well, and the rest of them can be used here, as mentioned. So yeah, moving forward, the fourth stage after gaining access is actually maintaining access. So after you get access to the computer or the network in the target, the second thing, I mean, the last thing you want is to maintain your access. You want to maintain whatever you have so that you don't lose it. You don't want to start from square one all again. Okay, so how do you do this? This, in other words, is called persistence. So here is where you create backdoors, stages, and all that, so that whenever you want to gain access, you can just gain access anytime you want without any problem. So yeah. Right. So that's the first part about maintaining access. You can maintain access with a lot of tools that are available. We have them packet and the rest that are known. So the fifth stage after maintaining access is clearing threats. Yeah, you don't want your tracks to be left all over, right? In the server. You don't want to make the server dirty, do you? So you're going to clear each and every footprint that you have left in the server so that no evidence can be left for you, because you're performing a pen test, even though it's legal, but you don't want to make it look like you are a lazy hacker. You want to make it realistic as possible. So that's the last thing you want to do. Okay, so these are the stages of ethical hacking. Yeah, possibly. So after here, I'm going to actually show you a few tools in action. But before that, I would want to explain to you the differences between ethical hackers and malicious hackers. Though I don't think there is much to explain to it, because as I said earlier, that ethical hackers are actually having the intent to help the owner or identify the issues that they're facing in their systems with their consent. Malicious hackers, they just hack into the system with the intent to cause harm into the system, but as well as steal sensitive information for any gain that they have in mind. So another thing is that hacking is legal. Ethical hacking is actually legal, since ethical hackers have proper permission and approvals, but malicious hackers do not have permission to hack into the system. So they forcefully enter the system to cause harm, which is illegal. Yeah. So an ethical hacker can actually be employed by an organization or a client easily, but black hat hackers or malicious hackers can't be employed easily as that. So yeah. And another thing to add on top of that is that for an ethical hacker, there are some skills that should be obtained before moving further than an ethical hacker. So you should have a basic of programming knowledge, at least a basic of programming knowledge, though it's not really necessary, but it should add some points in your scripting knowledge when you try to identify and deal with certain attacks. Then you should also have network skills and basic knowledge of operating systems such as Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. And you should have up-to-date knowledge of new hacking methods, tools, hacking patterns, etc., and more. So yeah, I think that's probably the most of it. And moving forward, I'm just going to be showing you a bit about every of these stages. I'm going to show you, I'm actually going to show you in brief on how to use Nmap when performing a scan post. I mean, for gathering information and such. Just a minute. Even okay, so proceeding, I'm going to be demonstrating a certain box named Meow from Hack the Box. So I'm going to demonstrate how you can use Nmap to look for certain posts which are available. This is the first step, which is recon, and then we're going to move into the second step, which is scanning, which is part of recon as well. And from there, we will move into gaining access, then maintaining access. Yeah. So first of all, I have the IP, which is 10.129.5. I'm just going to do this alias IP box is equal to echo IP box. I hope this shows. Sorry, IP box. How do we make this show? This is weird. Okay. Now that makes sense. So I'm gonna do something like anyways, sports IP box is equal to echo IP box. Okay, done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run an nmap command. So first, nmap is a network scanning tool. It performs port scanning, network enumeration, and stuff like that. So when we write nmap, it will show us a list of commands that we can run. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a simple aggressive command. I'm going to type nmap-a, then I'm going to type, I'm going to write in the IP box -on. I want the output to be in nmap-scan.txt. Then I'm going to wait for the scan to finish. This will take a little bit of some time. So it's 68% done, 85% done. And now it is. And let's wait for finish scan. Okay, this takes a little bit. Okay, so it's done. We can see now. Okay, so if you want to read the output, we can type in. We can see that there's a file created, nmap scan.txt. Cut nmap scan.txt, and you can see that we have only one port open, which is the telnet port 23. Okay, so we want to connect this telnet port and see what we can get from it. So I'm going to write telnet IP box, and then I'm going to click enter, and then I'm going to wait for a while to see what actually comes in as an output. Okay, so we can see that it asks for a login. So one thing we can try to check for this one is actually we can try see if it actually allows us to use default credentials, such as root administrator and stuff like that, and see if we can get further with this. So if it allows us to log in as root, then this will mean something else. So we can start off with root. We just guessing the password. So we writing the login as okay. So wow. So writing the username as root, the login as root, it just gave us the root shell directive. So running this, we already see that we have root access, and we just gained access from it. So we have the flag over here, but that's not necessary for the time being. Yeah, so basically what we did over here, let me explain each step now. So I'm going to, yes. So when I wrote export IP box is equal to a certain IP, I actually exported the variable IP box to contain this value. Then I executed the command nmap -a. We can search right here. Dash help grep -a. Let's see. Sorry. It's not showing. Yeah, here. So actually it does all this. So it performs OS detection, version detection, script scanning, and traceroute. The -a command, okay? So running nmap-a on our IP address and performing O-n, -on, this actually outputs the flag into the type of name you want, like so .txt, it will output it to output.txt. So after running this command, we are able to create a file known as nmap.txt. From nmap.txt, we found out that we have the port open 23. So we tried to check the port. This is the scanning part. Telnet, the IP, and clicked enter. And when we waited for a certain period of time, it provided us with an output where it wanted an input tab where it wanted a login. So writing the login as root, we actually got access to the shell itself. So this means we just gained access. Now, to maintain persistence, we can use different tools for this, but since you got root and it's only a single box, there is no need to maintain persistence unless you're on a whole network. So yeah, to wind things up, that's basically how you could for beginners to get started into hacking. Yeah, so I just explained brief things that I explained about the steps of hacking and what ethical hacking is, the concept of ethical hacking, and the types of hackers that are available, and the types of hacking that are available. So yeah, I hope everything is well understood, and yeah, thank you. I'll be sharing the slides sooner after this video.
Thank you very much,
So
Taha. But if you'd like to make a little bit of request, can you also please just show them if you have any other box which is related to web hacking a little bit, which can take around,
okay.
let's say 5 minutes or so that they can also have an understanding on that perspective.
Let me look for that one.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, let me search for that one. And the machine that I wanted to demonstrate that will be quick, I can't actually seem to find one.
Yeah,
But
that's fine.
to simplify this,
yeah,
I will be sharing. Let me share here. I will be sharing one of my write-ups where I was exploiting. I was pawning actually a box from like the box, which is known as secret. So this was like 10 months ago.
yeah,
So in this machine, this was my enumeration phase, which is the recon phase. Okay. So in the recon phase, I was able to see that I have port 22 and port 80 open, and port 30,000 and 8701, which is filtered as unknown. So we have 3 ports open. Okay. So from the 3 ports that are open, I tried to look for the port 3000 and port 80 to see what I can get from them. And from these ports, I found out that in port 3000, there is some sort of API that is running, and it has Git in it. So when I downloaded the source code, which is files.zip, I extracted it. I found a Git folder where I was able to recover to actually, what was it? Restore the older branch that was committed before. And I found out that there are some passwords, and I mean there are usernames that are actually written in the codes. So from the code that I read, I found out the username was the admin. The username is the admin that was able to log in the route/priv. So moving forward, I was able to even understand how each request is made. So I was now in the stage of scanning, where I was looking for any other extra information that would allow me to gain access. Now, this part over here is where I started looking for using the information that I got to try and get more access. So I created a simple script to create a username, as you can see. create a user in the system, as you can see, to register user. And then moving forward, I created another system that would try to check for privs in the system, as you can see. And moving even further, I was able to see that we have a .env from the Git that I recovered when I was dumping it. And the .env actually contained a token secret. So from this token secret, I was able to find out that this token secret is the one that is used in creating the JWT tokens. So with this token secret, I can actually recreate my own secret token, JWT token, sorry, that I can use the secret to generate it so that I can become admin. So I'm actually going to use it to generate a token for admin, as easy as that. So since I have the key, I use JWT tool to actually put in my older, my generated token that I created from this code that I wrote. And from that code, I was able to get my newly generated token, which contained the username, the admin. As you can see, this was the command that I used. So after that, I was now able to test for Carl and see if my privileges with the token that I generated will allow me to log in as the admin, which is the admin of the system. And luckily it said, welcome back, admin. So now I can see that I'm moving even further and I'm nearly ready to get even further more access. So looking for the file private.js, I was able to see that there is a command injection vulnerability. So what is a command injection vulnerability? A command injection vulnerability is a type of vulnerability that allows you to execute shell commands inside a certain input. So the inputs are not actually sanitized, though they're actually sent to child process of a shell, which is dangerous. So as you can see here, this was where the bug existed. So it actually get logs using git log --1 line with the file. But if you append over here your malicious line of code, line of command, then it will actually execute it directly and provide you with the output. So this was the malicious part. So as I explained, this can allow us to perform command injection by adding, as you can see, and the file. So I rewrote my exploit, which we now have the function forge. And yeah, as you can see, I rewrote the exploit over here with this, whereas you can replace your IP and your port with your port where you're hosting the shell.sh, which is actually the reverse shell, which will be executed after you run this script, and you will receive a reverse shell, which will be the first step where you gain initial access. So you will now achieve a step in gaining access, as you can see over here. So you run the exploit and boom, you have the reverse shell. So this is gaining access. Now, the second thing I did, I wanted to maintain my access. And how do I maintain my access? I maintain my access by moving even further by privileging escalations to another user, because the user I had over here had not really been the user root compared to the box we just finished this previously. It just got as root. So first thing I checked was for binaries which had sweet permissions. So I found out that we have a binary named count. Reading the binary, it was written in C, so it was a long way. It took me like a few hours to understand how it works. And then I understand that once we can cause a crash, we can actually, so basically what the file does, it actually reads any file that you enter as an input, but you can run it as root. So basically, if you crash the binary on purpose while you are trying to read a certain file, the output of that certain file will actually be saved on the crash output, the crash dump, the core dumps actually. So what I did was I ran it, and on the second terminal, I looked for the process that was running it, and then I actually killed it. And from then, I went to /var/crash, and I was able to see the outputs of it. And I like dumped the output of the crash file, and reading the core dump, I was able to see the flag that I requested, which was /root/root.txt. And as easy as that, I could move further by writing /root/.ssh/id_RSA to read the public key of the root user, which would allow me to gain access and maintain access as the root user. Then I could clear my logs. So I think that is well understood. I will also share this link with you guys after the video. Thank you.
Wow. First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much for a wonderful session. Yeah, it's very informative, and I'm sure it can be also very intimidating. But I think as days goes on and people try to learn and increase or improve their skills, rather, it's gonna get better than where they are right now.
True.
Yeah. So, Mr. Tahaa, thank you very much for your time. It's been an honor to have you in this session.
Yeah,
And
thank you, Joe.
looking forward probably in the long term so that we can have probably an advanced session of the introduction bit of the ethical hacking bit where everybody can learn from you and improve their skills on that.
Sure. That's great.
Thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next session.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.